Arabia. Representing the President, Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin said the federal government was working to tackle insecurity and strengthen national unity. The Sultan urged Christians and Muslims to stop insulting one another, stressing that mutual respect and religious tolerance were key to peaceful coexistence. He also warned against the spread of false and disparaging content on social media, urging Nigerians to focus on solving national problems rather than promoting division. Minister of Information Mohammed Idris, APC Chairman Nentawe Yilwada, and other speakers similarly called for unity across religious, ethnic, and political lines, warning that allowing such differences to affect the fight against insecurity would worsen the situation. Now turning to the economy, Nigeria is losing billions of dollars in potential economic value because it exports raw materials instead of processing, branding, and marketing finished products. This is according to a report by Rome Business School, Nigeria. The report says Nigeria supplies about 40% of the world's raw shea nuts, but captures only about 1% of the global shea products market, valued at roughly $6.5 billion. Similar challenges affect cocoa, leather, spices, and other commodities, with much of the value generated after the raw materials leave Nigeria. The report also says more than 40% of fresh agricultural produce is lost after harvest because of inadequate storage, poor roads, and weak cold chain infrastructure. The report recommends stronger infrastructure, financing, certification, packaging, product design, and consumer protection to make Nigerian products more competitive globally. Now, female entrepreneurs are recording lower loan default rates than their male counterparts. MoneyPoint's 2025 Impact Report says women-owned businesses recorded default rates 2.5 times lower than those of male borrowers. Loans extended to women-owned businesses increased by more than 300% in 2025, with women accounting for 36% of total credit disbursed by the platform. The report says 65% of surveyed female business owners received their first formal business loan through the platform. Overall, more than $700 million in credit was disbursed to micro, small, and medium-sized businesses in 2025. The beneficiaries recorded an average 36% increase in transaction value, while 86% reported higher earnings. The report says businesses supported through the credit facilities employed more than 8 million people during the year. Now turning to the international scene, the Pentagon says U.S. military operations killed 153 civilians and injured 243 others in 2025. The figures represent a sharp increase from 2024, when the Pentagon recorded 2 civilian deaths and 2 injuries. According to a report submitted to the U.S. Congress, all the casualties recorded in 2025 resulted from 3 U.S. strikes in Yemen in April. The U.S. Central Command said the strikes were more likely than not to have caused civilian harm. The Pentagon is also assessing 15 other incidents in Yemen following reports from non-governmental organizations. Washington says its military operations in Yemen are aimed at degrading the capabilities of Iran-backed Houthi militants. Still on the foreign scene, 1 person has died and 172 others have been rescued after a ferry traveling from Bali to Lombok in Indonesia caught fire. The KM Putri Yasmin ferry was sailing from Pangdagbai port in Bali to Lembar port in Lombok when the incident occurred in the Lombok Straits early Wednesday. Local rescue officials say more than 200 personnel and several boats were deployed in the evacuation. 1 Australian national was among those rescued, while the remaining survivors were Indonesian. Officials are still searching for possible missing passengers and investigating the cause of the fire. There are also questions over the number of people aboard the vessel. An official at Pandagbai port said the ferry's manifest listed 114 passengers and 17 crew members, significantly fewer than the 172 people rescued. The incident comes less than a month after another Indonesian ferry caught fire off Madura Island, killing 5 more people. Now moving on to business news with Karima Hassan. Hello, Karima. What do you have for us today?
Aviation, here's what's happening in the business sector. Good day and welcome to S24 Business News. The Dangote refinery is calling for more reliable access to locally produced crude oil, saying domestic crude must be available in sufficient volumes and at commercially viable prices. The refinery made the clarification following reports surrounding crude supplies to domestic refineries under Nigeria's domestic crude supply obligation. Dangote refinery says it has not rejected Nigerian crude. Rather, it says crude supply to it must meet operational requirements in terms of volume, quality, and price. The development comes as the federal government considers reforms to improve crude supply to local refineries. The proposed changes could allow producers to supply nearby refineries directly, while reducing some of the additional costs associated with transportation and middlemen. For Nigeria, improving domestic crude supply remains important as the country seeks to strengthen local refinery, reduce dependence on imported petroleum products, and build a more sustainable downstream oil sector. Away from the oil sector, a new proposal is drawing attention in Nigeria's aviation industry. An industry expert is calling the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAN, to contribute 5% of its commercial airports revenue towards aviation safety. The proposal was made by aviation expert John Ojikutu, who is asking House of Representatives to compel FAN to make the contribution. According to him, part of the revenue generated from commercial activities at the Nigerian airport should be channeled towards agencies responsible for aviation safety. The proposal comes amid wider concerns about funding for safety operations and infrastructure in Nigeria's aviation industry. If implemented, the contribution could provide additional funding for safety-related activities and help aviation agencies carry out responsibilities more effectively. The call also highlights the wider conversation around how revenue generated Nigeria's aviation industry is distributed and reinvested into the sector. Now to the international business scene. Brazilian aircraft manufacturer Embraer has reported a strong second quarter, recording adjusted net income of more than $200 billion. The company adjusted net income rose by 38.4% from the same period last year, while revenue climbed 23% to about $2.2 billion. Embraer also delivered 65 aircraft during the quarter, while its order backlog reached the record of $34.5 billion, reflecting continued demand for its aircraft. The company has also raised some of financial expectation of 2026, signaling confidence in performance for the remainder of the year. From Nigeria's oil aviation sectors to stronger operational earnings in the global markets, those are the key business developments making headlines today. I'm Karima Hassan. Up next is Newspaper Review. Do stay with us.
Thank you, Karima, and welcome back from that break. We'll be moving straight to our next segment, which is the newspaper review. And of course, I won't be doing this alone. My colleague, Sarah Abel, is here with me. Hello, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. So let's quickly dive into the business for today.
Yes.
And we're going to be looking at our first newspaper. We'll be taking a swipe at the Daily Trust newspaper. And on the front page, it says, Nigeria's democracy needs review. And this is coming from our former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, as well as former President Goodluck Jonathan. So this is something calls for a review of the Constitution. Is a conversation that has lingered for a long time now.
Yeah.
So let me just hear your thoughts on this.
I'm in support partly of what he said. You know, I've always said that the type of democracy we practice, I don't know what sort of democracy we are practicing, because if you look at all the elements of democracy, I don't think we are following everything.
Yeah.
I understand his argument saying that Africa needs a distinct democracy that reflects our culture and values, which is a valid point to be made, right? But my argument also is that have we really, because he's saying that the democracy we inherited from our colonial masters is not really working for us, it hasn't been performing well, which is true, right? But then again, should we make it an absolute statement, being that we've not really practiced everything?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say too. Are we copying well?
Yeah, so we have not really
implementing it well.
Yes, we have not really practiced the democracy in totality for us to say, okay, it is failing. But I do understand his sentiment. I've always said that a lot of times Nigeria, we practice things that are perfect on paper but does not reflect our reality.
Yeah.
For instance, I know Jonathan talked about a decentralized system which I agree with. And one thing I've always said, I said that we can't afford to really copy some certain aspect of democracy that the Western world does. For instance, the welfare, the benefits of our judiciary system is tied to our executive arm. We know ourselves in this country. That is not an ideal thing for us. It might work outside the country, it might work in the Western part because they have more institutions that are grounded, but we do not have that. In Nigeria, you see judiciary singing on your mandates. You see our judiciary collecting gifts, housing gifts. It happened, was it not this year? Yes. So, and then again, their salary and everything. You look at, if you have a case in the court, there are certain amount they collect from you. They tell you generator, they need to own, they need to print things for you. You see the type of chairs we have in our courtroom. That's to tell you that it's tied to the executive arm. So if we have a thing where the three arms are really independent, the salary and everything that comes from the legislative arm is not tied to the executive. So why should our judiciary be the same? So I understand that aspect of the argument. I think we need to look at what works for us, what reflects our reality, and re-implement, but not saying that the democracy itself is a total failure.
Now, we've been calling for a review of the Constitution.
Yes.
And do you think that this is what will actually fix the issue of democracy? Because we keep saying that Nigerians are not enjoying the tenets of democracy.
Yes.
So will reviewing the Constitution now automatically mean that we'll start enjoying all the benefits of democracy?
Of course not. It's not an automatic thing.
Yeah.
But it's one of the things that will help in our democratic practice, so to speak. We need an overhauling. Our mentality also as Nigerians need to change. The people also, the way of thinking of people, where we are so tribalistic and religious in this country. That is why you keep saying every election period, politicians tend to use that as a weapon, to bring a divide in order to rule. So we as Nigerians also need a total change in our mentality and also our constitution.
Okay, so in one sentence, what area in the Constitution do you think needs that overhauling urgently?
Our institutions, I keep saying we need, if you want to look at this thing, it's so vast. It's not something you can even use one sentence to talk about. As I even talked about the judiciary part being more independent, I still talked about decentralization. We are too diverse and unique geographically and ethnicity to be lumped up and having power in the center. We need to decentralize it. That is why you say a lot of times it's a do or die affair when it comes to presidential election and any election that is towards the center, because too much power is there.
All right. Thank you so much, Sarah. So because of time, let's quickly look at our second newspaper, and we'll be taking a look at the Nigerian News Direct. On the front page, it says, or on the page, in one of the pages, it says that over 200 medical graduates stranded yearly with no housemanship. Now, this is also something that we've seen recurring over time. I just want to hear your thoughts on this too.
It's a big problem for us. I think earlier this week we still even talked about the educational sector. We've talked about the health sector along. This is a fundamental institutional problem. That is where I keep coming from. And this issue is not just for the doctors. I know personally of other medical practitioners who find it so hard to get internship slots, from physiotherapists to radiographers and the rest of it. So it's a cause for concern. Nigeria is a working contradiction for me personally, because we're a nation that have shortage of medical personnel. Right? And then at the same time,
that are available,
we do not even have the space to train the ones we have. So really, is it about the shortage itself that is the problem, or about we not having the facilities to train the people we have? If for medical, for doctors alone is over 2,000 people that are waiting, then imagine for the pharmacists, for the other parts of medicine. So it's a very serious issue. I think this is something the government needs to sit down. Minister of Health, we need to really tell ourselves the truth, what exactly it is we want as a country. Where are we moving towards? Because someone can spend years in school learning and doing all that, and then at the end part of it, you are now stopped. And this will bring corruption, because if you don't have connection, you won't be able to get a slot. I think government should work with everybody involved. I think government should also encourage partnership with private sectors also. I mean, they can give accreditation, check the list, help out in building infrastructure, doing partnership with private sectors in order to disburse these people.
Yes, indeed. And of course, that will also reduce the massive exodus of graduates and medical personnel that keep traveling. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us on Newspaper Review. And that is all we can take for today. Up next is S24 Report, coming to you after the break. Stay with us.
It is a cliche often repeated across political podiums. Young people are the leaders of tomorrow. But as stakeholders meet in Abuja, a critical question remains. Is Nigeria truly investing enough to secure that future? At the IHIL Global Youth Impact Forum 2026, distinguished personalities gather to tackle the gap between potential and opportunity. Opening the conversation, the First Lady of Kwara State, Olufolake Abdurazak, called for concrete action in skills acquisition, healthcare intervention, and education.
It is in this regard and in complementing the efforts of the government that my office and the Ajike People Support Center, which is my NGO, continue to promote the cause of youth, women, and children. And also, as the chairperson of the advisory board of the Water Light Save initiative, this has also been my focus. And all this is evident in the programs and activities that we engage in, ranging from skills acquisition and empowerment, education support, and health interventions focused primarily on women and youth.
For former lawmaker Shina Pella, youth investments must be rooted in job creation and economic access, arguing that an idle youth population stifles national growth.
So I'm using this opportunity to call the attention of the young leaders in this room that the theme today is not dream to dream. It is from dream to impact. Vision without execution is just isolation. And I will tell you that we don't need any form of hallucination in Africa. What we need is builders.
Addressing reporters on the sidelines of the event, special assistants on media, publicity, and strategic communications underscored the federal commitment to youth initiatives.
So the whole idea of this IHIL, a Global Youth Impact Forum, is to ensure that the youth have the right platform, and that also the stakeholders are able to provide them with the needed finance and investment opportunity, like we have seen demonstrated here today.
The atmosphere shifted from serious dialogue to vibrant celebration as dancers took the stage, infusing the gathering with energy and entertainment.
Is more about political exclusion and underemployment and unemployment, because there are lots of youths that are done with university service and everything, but they don't have the opportunity to be employed because there are lack of employment in lots of places.
As the curtain falls on the event, the message from the nation's capital is clear. Inspiration alone isn't enough. Young Nigerians need real, sustained opportunities to thrive. Martha Okpala-Nedu, reporting for S24 Television, Abuja.
Good day and welcome to another episode of Political Arena here on S24 Television. Insurgency remains one of the biggest security challenges facing many countries today. From Boko Haram, ISWAP in the Lake Chad Basin to Al-Shabaab in Somalia and militant group in Sahel, government have continued to deploy military force to protect their territory and citizens. But after years of military operation, an important question remains. Can insurgency be defeated by military force alone? Experience from countries such as Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Nigeria suggests that military action can weaken insurgent group, but lasting peace often require more than weapon and troop. So what is the right balance between military action and political economic, and what is the solution? Joining me today is John Costa, a veteran with vast military experience and security expert. John, welcome to Political Arena here on S24 television.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
And welcome back.
Thank you very much. Good to be back in Nigeria.
Thank you so much. So if I may ask, as a security expert that has vast knowledge on what security is all about, can you differentiate between insurgency and a conventional war?
Yeah, I think a conventional war is World War I, World War II, lots of big armies, maybe allies involved in conventional battles, whether that's in the air, the sea, or on the land. Tanks, lots of people. That's probably most people's view through watching popular culture, films on Netflix and Amazon and things like that in the movies. Hollywood's very good at this, is creating this good guy, bad guy, just war, people fighting for good or against bad people. So that kind of tends to be what conventional war is. Whereas you've got this whole kind of insurgency, which tends to be sometimes very low level, can also be described as banditry or insecurity, as in here in Nigeria. But ultimately, insurgency and insecurity are intrinsically linked as well to local populations, governance and corruption, maybe government issues that have not been followed through on, and therefore it creates a imbalance, and therefore people are drawn to take up arms against the government, if you like.
Okay, we saw the presence of Boko Haram in Nigeria and ISWAP, and even Somalia. We saw the presence of Al-Shabaab and Al-Qaeda in most of the places in the world. So can government use its own force in order to eliminate? How can government eliminate all those insurgent groups?
Well, I think it's impossible, to be honest.
It's impossible.
It's impossible. And I think what we need to be really saying to people now that are responsible for creating these strategies and stuff, it's very good to appear to be a tough guy and have, tough military and, pay them more, give them more equipment, introduce drones. I think the last time I was interviewed by you, we were talking about artificial intelligence and stuff. All of that's great, but ultimately, you're not fighting a conventional force that has got equipment that can be destroyed, or men that can be killed, and then a leader that can be got rid of, and maybe an ideology that could go like Nazism or fascism, or any of these kind of things. You're dealing with things where people are involved in an insurgency for their own reasons. So there'll be people that will be involved in the insurgency because it's quite good to be involved in that because it attracts more funding and more weapons, but actually they're just cattle rustling, or they might be stealing equipment, or they might be part of the insurgency because it looks good on their social media, whereas in fact all they're interested in is low-level kidnapping of local people as a way of funding what they do. So I think what a conventional approach takes that is missed by most people, particularly members of the public that are looking at play out on social media or on the mainstream news, where we're talking about how many have been killed and equipment captured and people from overseas that have been captured and stuff as part of that, is we lose the fact that these people are doing it for their own reason, not necessarily for one overarching ideology. Al-Qaeda is maybe quite different because it's an ideology that's based on an extremism view, whereas a lot of the insurgencies that you might get and see around the world, particularly if we talk about the Sahel, up where I was last November in Katsina, up on the border there with that porous border. Well, if it's a porous border that goods can get in and out of, and that includes weapons coming down from Syria and Iraq and Libya, suddenly, not having anything from the government, jobs, security, suddenly you're drawn into that, particularly young men are drawn into that. And this is the situation that we're finding where when we went up to Katsina, the state governor and other people were saying to us that you've got these young men that are involved in the insurgency, but they go home and their families are not necessarily supporting them, but they're part of it because they're providing protection or that kind of stuff. So, a community solution is important, but at the moment in the insurgency, the community is involved.
Okay, so what is the biggest mistake government done when fighting insurgency in a country?
Approaching it from the point of view that a conventional force is able to defeat an insurgency. It can slow it down, it can strangle it, it can have militarily successes when it comes to facing them they might get attacked and they're able to fight through and kill the insurgents, so the convoy isn't destroyed from the government forces. But ultimately what you're talking about there is there's no front line, there's nowhere that can be defeated. You can deny them some of the ungoverned spaces, but ultimately they just melt away into the forests and they come back again, and then you drone strike and kill the leader, and then someone else pops up as well. So it's almost like a multi-headed hydra, like a snake. It's very difficult to defeat. And I think a lot of governments have this military one fist, more equipment, more men, we can defeat it, whereas in fact it's going to take a whole range of options to be able to do that.
Okay, do you think that the military force alone can end terrorism?
No. If anything, military force alone trying to counter an insurgency will inevitably make it worse rather than solve the problem, because what you're not dealing with is the root cause of where the insurgency is coming from. Invariably it's from corruption and governance issues with failed government promises, lack of job opportunities for young people. Let's face it, the Nigerian government wants to recruit new army units and increase the pay. You're a young person in northern Nigeria, you've got an option for getting some pay, going to some training, join the army, not quite sure where you're going to serve. If you go to the northeast, a lot of soldiers are dying there fighting Boko Haram, or just join the insurgency and earn a bit of money, live near home, and be part of that. So we've always got this thing where it's good to be tough and appear to be tough, but ultimately that tough hand is what is causing the issue to perpetuate as opposed to solving it.
Thank you so much. We are going for a short break. When we return, the conversation will continue. Let's go for a short break. When we return, the conversation will continue here on S24 television.
During election seasons in Nigeria, political campaigns are often filled with bold promises, sending insecurity, creating millions of jobs, and rapidly transforming the economy. However, many of these pledges lack clear policy frameworks, timelines, or clear funding plans. Over the years, such promises have struggled to match reality. The country threats from groups like Boko Haram and Islamic State West Africa province, while economic challenges such as unemployment and inflation continue to affect millions.
When campaign promises repeatedly fail, public trust in leadership begins to erode. Analysts say this often leads to voter apathy, declining turnout, and growing frustration with political system. Experts argue that strengthening democracy requires credible policies.
Because elections should reward realistic solutions, not just the loudest pledges.
Finally, if campaign promises are not grounded in credible plans,
how can citizens distinguish between leadership and illusion?
You go up in January, February, something. When you know they're like 4 straight months. 4 like this. They don't start like 6 o'clock. So 4. Then when you want to pay, you go pay 1 month. They swear for you. So meanwhile, when they make call like this, you go they call
big money.
They call
where people dey your house, where no feature.
No feature. And I don't understand. You they get us so you these people now the 10 days see, even if they know the reason now, somehow they go one reason now. They go one say you come out.
They you say how the fee take do corner make they for carry me bring that money, make they share them.
If now you call, you understand. So they go try to, so everybody now going to use HQ because life na HQ. If you not use HQ, they go run you streets. That means you need to open your eye. You don't understand what it happens.
It is where you dey street where you don't know how street they be.
They say you and they test you.
So like this now, all this them madam and oga them waiting they suppose they do make all this kind of thing for no they happen to them because in as much as say they know they pay or they offend their domestic workers to work on they make domestic workers one day plan them for outside. They get some people too where be say you just go carry and say they suffer make you can't help them more. You know so now come they run.
They even take care of their domestic help.
And they go still for victim.
Yes.
Some people they will be say you know even reason their matter. I just go carry them make you can't help them. But now they go come they carry your information they go outside.
Based on that matter like this, person need to use like I said, life na HQ. Life na HQ. And when they born everybody, it gets spirit, the spirit of God where they for each person. Everybody get guardian agent. You want to do something, not only based on this thing, no. You want to do something, and your mind they do 2020, or leave that thing.
No draw.
Because before you go carry person, you go need to normally if you get sense, because some people they don't run out of HQ. if you get sense, normally you go need to do background check. This is not be days where we say you go just get one skit where I watch online. This guy just they get your stand on there. Please, he beg for it. And this guy you joke around, sister. As he carry this girl like this, so they never reach 2 kilometers. Then he get tell her say, may drop 1M. If you not drop one, say he go no whiskey. He go shout rape because they approach army checkpoints. He get to say a joke. He say, babe, why they which kind package with that one? Which can play with this? He say, say just they get cause serious so. And so as they reach checkpoint, then the guy start to shout, kidnap. Then they bring the guy come out. This waiting save that guy that they be say the guy gets a CCTV camera for inside car. So now be say even if you get help, any kind of you go need to put CCTV camera. But first thing first, number one, if your mind not carry something, not do. Number two, assuming say your mind can't carry am, that they call a spirit of God, they can't carry am, you can't do am like this. You before you go carry that person inside your house, you go get the information of that person. If you never get the
background check,
life normally in a HQ, you not suppose that now you won't make it hard. You go get every information because anything will happen at any time. You hear you go know who to call. Let me make you say if they want to employ somebody, they say, give us your guarantor. What did you say that one me?
But they for know who to catch.
You know who they go feel hold in case this person just come carry my money banskele. As they carry my money banskele, so I get person where I feel hold. And so life be. So you go need to go check who that person where be say anybody wake up for this economy, anybody wake up think, I don't get mama, I don't get papa, I don't get brother, I don't get enough fall from sky. Like I tell you, so everything now the foundation I be family. So family now where this thing day so everything. So you not get anybody where they say now Baba God try come from heaven. It not be it come from somewhere. Now person born and there is no way on this planet the person go to say you not get one relative or the other or person will feel sign shorty for her. So you go need to shine your eye as they open away, go look out for the person details then before then secondly or thirdly, I don't call one, I don't call two. Then thirdly, when would they talk about this insecurity matter? So make you know the kind of call where you they make, the kind of call where you they receive for public, even inside your house when you get domestic staff. You get some places inside your house where you say domestic staff not supposed to enter. Because the problem is, if you check story the way of people or gather and madam the way they don't buy, most times that their personal room, where all their golds, all their luxury, everything they inside. When outside point we say never even see, man say for instance now, they pay at 30K. The person come enter your room, come see like maybe like 10 million
for inside drawer.
You understand my point? Come see like 10 million, 20 million, as in more. What did they talk? Like reason Anna. What did they talk? So people when we say, oh, not go there, they go start to the reason 2 times.
Do you know that not all Almajiri are beggars? When many Nigerians hear the word Almajiri, a familiar image often comes to mind. Young boys walking the city streets with bowls in their hands, asking strangers for food or money. But that image tells only part of a much older story.
The term Al-Majri derived from the Arabic word Al-Muhajir, meaning a seeker who lives harm in pursuit of knowledge. For centuries across what is now the northern Nigeria, this represented a respected Islamic learning tradition.
Long before modern schooling system arrived, Quranic education formed the backbone of intellectual life across the Sokoto Caliphate. Young students traveled to study under learned scholars, known locally as malamai.
Memorizing the Quran, learning ethics, jurisprudence, literacy, and community values. Historical record shows that this system was once operated within a strong social contract.
Communities provided food, shelter, and care for students as an act of charity and collective responsibility.
Many graduates became teachers, judges, administrators, leaders, and respected religious scholars. So what changed?
Colonial era restructuring in the early 20th century altered the governance and education system across northern Nigeria.
Traditional institutions lost state support, urban migration accelerated, and economic pressure deepens. Over the time, communal welfare and the network that sustained the Almajiri students became weak.
And what remained was the structure without sufficient protection. Reports indicate that millions of children in northern Nigeria are enrolled in informal Quranic learning system. Some students lived under responsible supervision and received structured instruction.
Others, however, face poverty, displacement, and neglect, forcing them into the street.
This distinction matters because not every Almajiri child is a beggar. Many are simply students pursuing religious education in modest circumstances.
Reducing the entire system to street begging risks misunderstanding of both its history and potential. Experts increasingly argue that the challenge is not Almajiranci itself, but regulation, child protection, and integration.
Successful reform efforts have focused on combining Quranic education with literacy, vocational skills, healthcare access, and formal schooling standards, preserving religious tradition while safeguarding children's welfare.
The real question facing Nigeria is not whether the system should exist, it is whether it can evolve. Can tradition and modern education work together?
Can communities, religious leaders, and government rebuild the protective structures that once defined the system? Because behind every label is a child, and behind many Almajiri students is not abandonment, but a search for knowledge.
The challenge now is ensuring that search lead not to the street, but to opportunity.
Security remains a major concern across parts of Nigeria, but there are also signs of progress. From a successful rescue operation in Plateau to fresh military reinforcements in Kwara and a deadly cult clash in Oshun, here are the latest developments making headlines in the security world today. Troops of Sector 3 Operation Enduring Peace have rescued a 47-year-old woman who was abducted from her home in Dong Village, just north, local government area of Plateau State. The victim, Mrs. Paulina Alfred, was kidnapped by gunmen before troops launched a search operation. Security personnel tracked the suspected kidnappers to the Rafin Bauna area in Bassa, local government area. As soldiers closed in on the suspect, the kidnappers reportedly abandoned the victim and fled into the surrounding bush. Mrs. Alfred was rescued unharmed, debriefed by security officials, and later reunited with her family. Security forces say efforts are ongoing to arrest the fleeing suspects. Meanwhile, in Kwara State has received a major security boost with the deployment of a new Nigerian Army battalion. Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak welcomed the troops, describing the deployment as a significant step towards improving security across the state. He thanked President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the military high command for approving the battalion, pledging the state's full support for its operations. The reinforcement follows renewed efforts by the federal government to strengthen security in Kwara after the deadly attacks earlier this year and improve the military's response to threats in the state. And in Osun State, police have launched an investigation after a violent clash between suspected rival court groups left 5 people dead in Ilesha. According to authorities, 3 people were initially killed during a late-night attack, while 2 others later died in what police believe was reprisal assault. The Osun State Police Command says tactical teams have been deployed to restore calm, while officers continue to search for those behind the attacks. Residents have also been urged to remain calm and provide useful information that could assist the investigation. As security agencies intensify operations across the country, authorities continue to stress the importance of public cooperation, saying timely information from residents remain vital in the fight against crime and violence. I am Abmatha Opalanedu. Do remember that security is a shared responsibility. Hello and welcome to Tech World Update, where we discuss technology, innovation, and digital world. I am Aisha Muhammad. Here's what's shaping ICT from Nigeria to the global stage. Today's technology headlines focuses on Nigerians' widening shortage of skilled digital workers, the push to bring more cloud infrastructure onto Nigerian soil, rising cybersecurity threats powered by artificial intelligence, and a massive financing initiative aimed at expanding global AI infrastructure. We begin in Nigeria. A shortage of industry-ready technical talent could put billions of dollars in potential foreign investment at risk. The European Business Chamber, Eurocham Nigeria, estimates that Nigeria is facing a $14 billion technical skills gap, warning that the shortage of workers with the right digital and technical expertise could undermine the country's ability to attract and retain foreign investors. The issue goes beyond producing more graduates. Businesses increasingly require workers with practical skills in areas such as artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, cloud computing, data science, and advanced digital systems. Still in Nigeria, the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, is pushing for greater local hosting of Nigerians' digital workloads. The agency says more than 85% of Nigerian workloads currently sit on foreign public cloud platforms, raising concerns around data sovereignty, security resilience, and the economic value generated from Nigeria's growing digital activity. The proposed policy direction would encourage more critical workloads to be hosted locally, potentially creating greater demand for Nigerian data centers and cloud infrastructure. Across Africa, cybersecurity company KnowBe4 has launched its 2026 cybersecurity resource kit across African corporate networks as organizations face increasingly sophisticated digital threats. The initiative focuses on emerging risks including AI-generated deepfakes, advanced phishing attacks, and social engineering. As artificial intelligence makes cyber attacks more convincing and difficult to detect, organizations are being pushed to strengthen not only their technical defenses, but also employee awareness. And finally, on the global stage, NVIDIA, alongside financial giant BlackRock and Goldman Sachs, has launched a financing platform valued at up to $500 billion to support the expansion of enterprise AI data centers and the procurement of advanced GPUs. The scale of initiative reflects the enormous capital now required to build the computing infrastructure behind the global AI boom. As demand for AI continues to rise, the competition is no longer just about who developed the best AI model. It is increasingly about who can finance, build, and control the infrastructure required to run it. And that's Tech World Updates, where innovation meets impact and the future stays in focus. Do stay with us, as after the break is entertainment news updates with Patience Linus. Thank you and bye for now.
Welcome to another sizzling entertainment update on S24 television, where we bring you the latest stories making waves in music, film, and television. From Ninio's emotional return to music, to DJ Timi's new international project and the latest Richard releases, here are some of the stories making headlines today. Afro house singer Niniola is slowly returning to music months after her husband, Michael Indika, died. The singer is set to release a new single titled Odumi on Friday, describing the song as a way of expressing feelings she could not put into words. Niniola shared a short preview of the song, saying, "Some feelings are simply too deep for words, so she put them into music." The release marks her first musical outing since Indika's death in May 2026. He was her husband of 13 years, also worked closely with her as her manager. Since his death, Niniola has gradually stepped back into the public eye. She recently returned to stage, acknowledging that performing again does not mean the pain of losing her husband has disappeared. She has also been seen supporting her younger sister, Teniola Apata, at her album launch. Niniola had kept her marriage largely private, making the news of Indika's death a shock to many fans. With Oduni, the singer appears to be using music as part of her healing journey and a way to turn grief into expression. Meanwhile, Abuja-born DJ Timi is bringing Nigerian sounds and Welsh culture together on his new project, Trip to Wales. The 4-track EP blends Afrobeat, Amapiano, and Afro House, featuring Nigerian and Wales-based artists. The project opens Kresho, the Welsh word for welcome. The song introduces listeners to DJ Timi's experience of moving from Nigeria to Wales, while carrying his musical roots with him. Other tracks include Run, Mamacita, and Fun, with collaborations from artists based in Wales and Nigerian musicians living there. DJ Timi says the project is showing how artists from different backgrounds can work together and explore new sounds. Timothy Adekunle was born in Abuja. He developed an interest in music through drumming, singing, and dancing before becoming a DJ. He later moved to Wales to study construction project management while building his music career. Since then, he's performed at major events in the UK and worked with groups promoting Black music and culture. Trip to Wales is his way of documenting that journey while exploring the connections between Nigerian music and his new home. And finally, fans of Richa have 2 reasons to look forward to the coming weeks. Prime Video has announced that season 4 of Richa will premiere on August 12th. 3 episodes will be launched, followed by new episodes every Wednesday until September 16th. The new season is based on Lee Child's novel, Gone Tomorrow. It follows Jack Reacher after a chance encounter on a subway pulls him into a dangerous case involving powerful enemies. But that's not all. The new spin-off series, Negli, will also premiere on September 16th, with all 8 episodes released at once. The series follows Frances Negli, a former military colleague of Reacher, as she investigates the suspicious death of a close friend. Maria Stern returns as Negli, while Alan Rickson makes a guest appearance as Reacher. Reacher has already been renewed for a 5th season, giving fans even more of the action series to look forward to. And that's the entertainment update for today. From heartfelt comebacks to global musical collaborations and exciting new series on screen, there's plenty to look forward to. I am Linus Kuyet, and thanks for watching.
Hello, sports fans. The action is hot, the stakes are high, and the football world is giving us plenty to talk about. From a former World Cup winner facing an uncertain future in Monaco to a heavyweight European showdown between 2 continental champions, and Nigerians junior yellow greens chasing another crucial victory in Rwanda, we've got the big stories lined up for you. I am Stephen Elebo, and this is your sports updates. Let's get straight into it. First, Paul Pogba's return to football could be heading for another twist. Reports says Monaco are looking to terminate Pogba's contract after another injury setback, barely a year after the French midfielder joined the club. It's another frustrating chapter for a player whose career has been badly affected by injuries and his suspension from football. Pogba was hoping Monaco would provide the platform to rebuild his career and get back to his best. But with the club reportedly considering an early exit, the 33-year-old could once again be searching for a new beginning. For a player who has lifted the World Cup and enjoyed major success with Juventus and Manchester United, it's certainly a difficult moment. The big question now is, where does Pogba go from here? Now, this is where the things get exciting. Paris Saint-Germain and Aston Villa go head-to-head today in Salzburg for the UEFA Super Cup. And the equation is simple. 2 European champions, 1 trophy. PSG arrive as Champions League winners, while Aston Villa are the European League champions. It's more than just another final. It's an early statement of intent for the new European season. PSG will want to prove that their dominance on the biggest stage is not over, while Villa will be looking to show that their European triumph was no fluke. One night, one trophy, and absolutely no room for excuses. And finally, Nigeria's junior yellow greens are back in action in Rwanda, targeting another important victory in the ICC Under-19 Men's Cricket World Cup African Division 2 qualifiers. After bouncing back with a strong win over Ghana, Nigeria will be hoping to maintain that momentum. The mission is clear: win, build confidence, and keep the World Cup dream alive. And that's a wrap. From Pogba's uncertain future to a European trophy showdown and Nigerians' young cricket stars fighting for World Cup qualification, the sporting world never slows down. Keep following the action, keep supporting Nigerian sports, and most importantly, keep your passion for sports alive. Thanks for watching, and remember, where there is sports, there is a story. Coming up next is PG News after the break.
Una welcome, my country people. I don't come again with the ogbonge tori from police matter for Osun State, peace talk for Abuja, business reports, and export wahala to international matter. Make we enter inside the gist sharp sharp. And we go start with ogbonge tori from Osun State, where the police command don summon Senator Francis Fadausi over one viral video where dem talk say him threaten to kill members of their court party ahead of the Saturday governorship election. The senator come yarn for Yoruba during one of his protests for Ilesha after dem allegedly kill 3 APC members. But Fadausi come deny and say him no directly talk am make dem kill anybody. Him talk say na AI dem take edit the video to scatter him name. Governor Ademola Adeleke don call for him arrest, while police come announce say dem don ban Amotekun, vigilante, hunters, and other local security groups from this election across the 30 local government areas, say na only recognized federal security agencies go do the work. And for Abuja, President Bola Tinubu, the Sultan of Sokoto, His Royal Highness Muhammad Saad Abubakar, and other big names don't beg Nigerians make them join hand fight insecurity, hate, and other national problems. Representing the president, Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin talks the federal government they work hard to tackle this insecurity wahala. The Sultan call on Christians and Muslims, make them stop to dey insult each other, say mutual respect and religious tolerance they important to make peace happen, and make people stop to use social media to spread fake biggie everywhere. And this one a business matter, as one report from Rome Business School talks in Nigeria, they show say Nigeria they lose billions of dollars because we they carry raw materials go outside. Instead, make we they process and brand them for our Nigeria. The report shows that Nigeria they supply about 40% of world raw share nuts, but we do get like 1% of the global market money, we worth about $6.5 billion. And this same wala they affect cocoa, it they affect leather, and it they affect spices. Plus, over 40% of fresh farm produce they spoil after harvest because of bad road and poor storage. Make we say try to deprocess our kaya, make we no carry them come out again. And for another business report, Money Point 2025 impact report reveals say women business owners they pay back their loan past men. Women-owned businesses record default rate 2.5 times lower than male borrowers. Loan where them give women-owned businesses increased by 300% for 2025, with men carrying 36% of total credit. Over $700 million total credit enters small businesses that year, and the 86% of them report higher earnings. And we don't work reach the USA as the Pentagon they talks the US military operation don't kill 153 civilians and wound 243 others for 2025. This one high past 2024 own where them record only 2 civilian deaths. According to the report where they sent to the US Congress, all the casualties happened because of the 3 US strikes for Yemen this April, as them they try to stop Iran attack Houthi militants. And we sit there on international news where one person don't die and 172 escape as one Indonesian ferry where they travel from Bali to Lombok catch fire. The ferry KM Putri Yasmin catch fire for Lombok Strait early Wednesday morning. It can rescue people, deploy over 200 personnel, save plenty people, including one Australian national, while search still they continue for their search for any missing passenger we still did there. While I can't enter the matter as the passenger list show only 114
14 passengers and 17 crew members, but now 172 people them carry. And now here we go wrap today Tori. Make una stay informed, make una stay safe, and I go see you next time.
Hi, my name is Hawa Shakir Owodini, and shout out to S24 for this interview. It was so smooth and so clean. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shukra, for the pidgin version of our news. And this brings us to the end of S24 News Rundown. Do join us next time, and remember to follow us on all our social media platforms at S24 Television for more updates and breaking stories. I am Gloria Atta. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.